critical instrument of national unity, cohesion, and integration. We look forward to better days ahead.
He was a man of few words, but of firm convictions. A soldier turned statesman whose presence in Nigeria's political and historical narrative spanned over 5 decades. From the rugged terrain of Daura to the grandeur of Aso Rock, Muhammadu Buhari's life was marked by discipline, duty, and a dogged commitment to national service. Born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State, Muhammadu Buhari came of age in a young Nigeria still finding its identity. He joined the Nigerian army at the age of 19, embarking on a military career that would shape his worldview and leadership style. From the Nigerian Military Training College in Kaduna to advanced training in India, the UK, and the US, Buhari rose through the ranks with discipline and precision. He played active roles in the Nigerian Civil War and later held key command positions. In 1983, at the age of 41, he emerged as Nigeria's military head of state after a coup that cited corruption and national decay as justifications. His 20-month military regime, 1983 to 1985, was defined by a crusade for order, the War Against Indiscipline, WAI. It was controversial yet unforgettable. Queues, punctuality, and national ethos became central themes of national life. His administration clamped down on corrupt officials and introduced austerity measures amid a challenging economic backdrop. But as rigid as the regime appeared, it laid bare Buhari's ideology, a no-nonsense leader who believed national development could not thrive on indiscipline or excess. After his ousting in 1985, Buhari went quiet, but not forgotten. In 2003, he returned, not with tanks, but with ballots. He contested Nigeria's presidency 3 times and lost, but with each attempt, his popularity grew, particularly in the north. In 2015, at the age of 72, he made history. Muhammadu Buhari became the first opposition candidate to defeat an incumbent president in Nigeria's democratic history, a moment of national rebirth. Hope transition. President Buhari's administration spanned 2 terms, 8 years of trials and triumphs. His government focused on 3 pillars: security, anti-corruption, and economic revival. He expanded Nigeria's railway network, the Abuja-Kaduna, Lagos-Ibadan, and Warri-Itakpe lines. Major infrastructure projects, including the long-awaited Second Niger Bridge, became realities. He launched social investment programs like NPower and Trader Money, designed to empower the poor and unemployed. On anti-corruption, he revived dormant cases, strengthened the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and repatriated looted funds from abroad. On agriculture, the Anchor Borers program revived rice and local grain production. But security remained a daunting challenge. Boko Haram, banditry, and farmer header crisis. His government wrestled with an evolving threat landscape, navigating global and regional dynamics. Whether admired or criticized, Muhammadu Buhari remained consistent. In his 2015 inaugural speech, he declared, "I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody," a phrase that would define the tone of his presidency.
I intend to keep my oath and serve as president to all Nigerians. I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
He was not a perfect leader. No leader ever is, but he was purposeful. A patriot, a man of few indulgences, who even in retirement preferred a quiet life in his home in Daura. In the history of Nigeria's journey, Buhari's chapter is long and layered. He is remembered as a bridge between Nigeria's military past and democratic future. A man who served with both command and conviction. His critics acknowledged his sincerity. His supporters saw him a symbol of incorruptibility. As Nigeria moves forward, the memory of Muhammadu Buhari endures, not just in marble, policy or power, but in history, in governance, in the fabric of a nation that continues to evolve. Soldier, statesman, servant, Muhammad Buhari's watch has ended, but his imprint remains. Grace Komolafe, Souqnews TV. Olumorok, Lishabi and the people of Egbala, a story of resilience and transformation. Telling the story from afar may not be as beautiful as visiting the historical scene for a more engaging storytelling.
I welcome you to the foot of Olumorok. So climbing the rock is in two ways. Either you go through the panoramic elevator or the stairs, but whichever way you choose to go through, I'm assuring you are going to land at the topmost part of Olumorok safely. So Olumorok is like every other rock you've ever climbed or know about, but it plays an important role in the life of the people of Egba during an intertribal war between the Egba and Old Oyo Empire.
History and culture are the intertwined thread that shape the identity of a people, offering a glimpse into their past struggles, triumphs, and the rich traditions that continue to define their presence.
So from here we can have the glance view of the immediate environment around Olumorok, because Olumorok is centered at the middle of Abeokuta. But when we get to the topmost part on Olumorok, we are going to have the 360-degree of the view, which means the more you go, the more you see. So I want to encourage you to
Brace up.
Brace up so that we can get to the topmost part of the rock. So let's move.
History is what we bring to you today. What is the connection between Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people? My name is Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective. Let me take you on an inspiring journey through the history of one of Nigeria's most significant landmarks. Come with me.
I welcome you to the first level on Olumorok.
Thank you.
So this is the first level on the rock. Olumorok is in 3 stages, from the ground floor to the first landing scape. I want to inform you that you have climbed 120 stairs to come this far. Can you give yourself a round of applause for that? And I'm sure you are fit to climb to the topmost part in Olumorok.
I'll try.
That's great to know. So the first level of Olumorok is called Lishabi Garden. Lishabi Garden is named after one of our past warriors called Lishabi Agbunguakala. Lishabi was one of the warriors that fought for Egba to gain their freedoms from Old Oyo Empire. It is a natural garden set aside for people to take relaxation after climbing the first level of the rock. Also at this spot, we have 2 trees that we can talk about. The first one is Dongoyaro tree. This is it here. Dongoyaro tree. English call it neem tree. It botanicizes as Adirata indica. If you get from its leaf and cook cassava and drink, it kills malaria. And if you drink from a stick, it clears bad breath from mouth. Also, its name is derived from an Hausa face, which means tall boy, Doko Yaro. This is a flamboyant tree. Its botanic is Dilonis regia. It produces some lumpo. Look at the branches. If you get from those brown pods, there are some seed inside it. When it dries up, if you tap or shake, give a kind of sound sheke sheke. And that was where the Yoruba derived its name from. That is why we call it pansheke in the Yoruba land. The pods serve as a natural musical rattle for traditional dancers, nothing more to play with, before the invent of tambourine and some other musical instruments. When we go up on Olumorok, we are going to turn and visit all historical places. There are some shrines and worshippers around Olumorok. They are not harmful. They are here to showcase our cultural and traditional heritage. So I wish you a pleasant trip as we rock.
Rock, a striking natural formation rising 137 meters, which is about 450 feet above Abeokuta, Nigeria. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of Egba people's endurance. The story of Olumo Rock begins in the early 19th century when it was identified by the hunter named Adagba. Though details on how Adagba discovered the rock were limited, it is well documented that the Egba people facing oppression under the Oyo Empire sought refuge here.
So this is the cave. This was where the people of Egba took refuge during the war. From that side, there was some dripping water. Some water is to drop from that side. It is tagged the medicinal water of Olumo Rock. Whenever the water is gushing, traditional believers always come to pick from its drop. And they claim it cures so many ailments in the body. But the water is not flowing out because God determines when the water flows. And this grave, that's the resting place of Chief Sonny. The grave of Chief Sonny. Chief Sonny was the OC of Itoko during his lifetime. Olumo Rock is founded between two communities. The entry point of Olumo Rock, where you came in from, is called Ikija, while the backside of Olumo Rock is called Itoko community. And this is a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land. That is the chief sitting at the left of the king in palace. As we have the Otunba and Osioba, it's a two-top position to the king. According to the custom and tradition of Yoruba, when a chief died, they bury the chief either at the front of his house, at his bedroom, or at his backyard. He must never be taken to a cemetery. That was why Baba was buried here. And this rostry roof building is the family house of Chief Sonny. The family has an extension. Baba dies on the 23rd of January 1956. 20 years after his death, government took over this place as a tourist site. That was why government decided to fence the family house so that they will not be blocking up the passage of the tourists. So the people of Egba took refuge here during an intertribal wars. The war started in 1830. Then the people of Egba were under old Oyo Empire. They basically want freedoms and where to settle. That was why they consulted the Fareku for lead. Ifa instructed the Egbas to come and settle there. On their way coming down, they met a man on the road. The name of the man is called Adagba. Adagba was a great hunter farmer. He was the one that discovered Olumo Rock during his hunting process. During those periods, the entire city of Abeokuta was thick forest. Only the powerful ones and the warriors that could come around to do anything and return back home alive. But when the Ifa instructed the Egbas to come, Shodeke, who was one of the founding fathers of Egba land, led the people of Egba down here. And they were here for years. During their stay, they took the natural suspension shape of the rock advantage and built their rooms. The rock is naturally standing. They only took the advantage of the shape and built their room. So the rock served as the roof of the room. 4 of the rooms they built as collapsed remains only that. Those are the signs of the fallen rooms. That was where they kept wives and children. Men and warriors will surround the rock so that the enemy will not gain access to this place. All these holes we are seeing on the surface of the rock, that was where they do their grindings. Like we use blenders now, Yoruba call it Oluata. So the process of their grindings make the holes deep like this. After the war in 1833, the people of Egba asked from Ifa to confirm maybe they should leave this place to go back to where they came from. Ifa told them to keep on dwelling here, that this is where God has put an end to their problems. And that's how they derived the name to the rock. Olufimo. Olufimo means where God put an end to all our tribulations. Ibi tí Olúwa fi ogun wàhálà àti ìdààmú ayé wa mọ̀ sí Olufimo. But people later shorten it to Olumo to gain a very short word. Another meaning to Olumo, Olu in a Yoruba land means God. That's God Almighty. Mo means mode or molded. The people then believe that God benevolently molded the rock for them so that they can take their refuge under it. Oluwa ló mọ̀ fún wa láti fi ṣe ibi ìsádi kúrò lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. God molded the rock for our refuge. So when they came out from the rock, others were asking the Egbas of their whereabouts, and they told them, hid ourselves under the rock. Under the rock or beneath the rock in Yoruba means Abe Okuta. And that was how the name got changed from Egba, and they started referring to them as Omo Abe Okuta. Also, the popular city of Abe Okuta started from here. So if you have been anywhere around the town and you have not visited here, you haven't been to Abe Okuta.
The name Olumo is derived from the Yoruba words Olu means God and Mo meaning molded, signifying God-molded rock. This reflects the deep spiritual connection the Egba have with the rock, seeing it as a divine creation that shaped their destiny. Today, the rock remains not only a historical site, but a place of cultural rituals, including annual sacrifices.
Over here, we have the main shrine of Olumo Rock, the main shrine of the rock. The main shrine is the local temple where the people of Egba worship and make sacrifices to the deities of Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock is an historical monument. It's also a symbol of Egba unity, strength, and unfailing protection. Because under the rock, the people of Egba took refuge during an intertribal war. And after the war, the rock has become a deity. That is why Egba people offer sacrifice to Olumo Rock once in a year with a big black cow. During the festival, only two people have access to enter the shrine. That is why the shrine is always locked. And the two people are the paramount ruler of Egbaland, that's Alake of Egbaland, and the chief priest. The chief priest is called Abore in the Yoruba land. Other traditional rulers in Abeokuta invited guests, indigenous of Abeokuta, will stay outside to say amen to his prayer. During the festival, the Alake of Egbaland will pray for the whole nation. He pray for Egba unity, also the climbers of Olumo Rock, so that they will not fall. No one has ever fallen while climbing the rock. Also at the shrine, traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. When the prayer is answered, those that made pledges while praying will come back to redeem their pledge, ensuring appreciation to Almighty God and to Olumo that interceded for them. That is why you have those feather, blood, and cloth on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of pledges people have been returning. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba. There are 4 traditional rulers in Abeokuta: Alake of Egbaland, the paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oshilo of Okiono, Agora of Bagora, and Oluwu of Uwu. Traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. Maybe they're looking for words, children, or anything in life. So when the prayer is answered, those that make pledges while praying will usually come back with their pledges. That's why we have those feather, blood, and stuff on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of the pledges. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba, meaning a deity you can pray through for words, children, and every other good things in life.
Wondering about the historical issues between Oyo and the Egba people. How Oyo to exert control over them. The western region of Nigeria, primarily composed of Yoruba descendants, was dominated by the Oyo Empire, a powerful political entity that rose to prominence around the 15th century. By the 18th century, Oyo had become one of the largest and most influential states in West Africa, known for its sophisticated governance, military strength, and expansive trade networks, controlling neighboring kingdoms, including the Egba. The governance of the Oyo Empire was centralized under the Alaafin, the king, who was supported by a council of advisors and provincial governors. This structure enabled the empire to maintain stability and enforce laws across its vast territories. At its peak, Oyo thrived economically through agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, establishing itself as a vibrant economic hub. However, its involvement in the transatlantic slave trade created significant instability in the region, leading the Egba people to seek independence from Oyo's control. Who is Lishabi? No story about the Egba people is complete without mentioning Lishabi, the legendary warrior whose courage and strategic leadership freed the Egba people from the oppressive dominance of the Oyo Empire. Lishabi heroism is etched deeply in the annals of Yoruba history, as he led a rebellion that broke the chance of subjugation and paved the way for Egba autonomy. Lishabi Agbongbo Akala, a native of Itoku, Abeokuta, was not just a fearless leader, but also a tactician. In the late 18th century, the Egba were subject to heavy taxation and constant exploitation under Oyo's rule. To resist this, Lishabi secretly mobilized a group of Egba farmers and hunters into a covert warrior society called Egbearo, a vital step in organizing the rebellion. With his deep understanding of the terrain and his influence over his people, Lishabi led a series of coordinated guerrilla attacks against Oyo forces stationed in the Egba region. His strategy was not one of open warfare, but a methodical plan to undermine Oyo's authority. By ambushing Oyo tax collectors and military detachments, Lishabi weakened the empire's grip over the Egba. His leadership unified the Egba people, turning their frustration with Oyo into a force for liberation. Following their eventual victory, the Egba people were freed from the oppressive rule. In 1830, this newfound freedom led to the establishment of Abeokuta, meaning under the rock, a city founded under the protective watch of Olumorok. Olumorok provided both a literal and symbolic refuge as it sheltered their people during their struggle for independence. From this safe haven, the Egba built a thriving community rooted in agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, becoming a key cultural and economic hub in the region. Today, Lishabi Agbongbo Akala's legacy is celebrated not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of unity and resilience. His actions not only ensured the survival of the Egba people, but also contributed to the rich historical and cultural fabric of Abeokuta and the entire Yoruba as a whole. By the mid-19th century, Abeokuta had attracted European missionaries like Thomas Freeman, whose introduction of Western education and Christianity left a lasting influence on the community.
Inscription about the just a little write-up. The next spot is where we used to have the mamas. So this was one of the water pots they drank from there. Yoruba quality cocoa. With water storage and preservation, water point here is as cold as water from the refrigerator, but it has been cemented for proper preservation. The Yalo Risha, they are here as the custodians of the rock, and people do come to them for spiritual consultation and a whole lot more. So this is a crown tree. Crown tree. Yoruba quality Gia cocoa. If a king has to be installed, or they want to make a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land, they pluck from the leaf away a cocoa to coronate king. But this very one is mainly used for the paramount ruler of this town, Lake of Egala, only for him. And the tree has been growing there for over 250 years. It doesn't grow than this. So it has been. Poster of the newly studied Iyalumo, she's 98 years of age. And this is a poster reflecting the old Iyalumo. She died at the age of 137 years, over 2 years ago now. They have a deity they worship here. They call it Orisha Igu. Orisha Igu. That's the deity that control longevity. They believe the more they worship, the longer they live. So they have other deities around. One of such is Orisha Ojubo Baluaye. Baluaye is the deity that controls chickenpox and measles. Yoruba call it Shopono. So if chickenpox or measles is striking all over, they do consultation from here. So whatever instruction they get, so once they follow it, everything that comes up will disappear at the go. So that's Ojubo Baluaye right there. And this Ogun, god of iron, the famous god of iron. So we have a baobab tree. Baobab tree, B-A-O-B-A-B. In the eastern part of Nigeria, they call it Afo-Napunwa. In the northern part, they call it Kuka. Here in Southwest, we call it Gioshe. It botanica is Adansonia digitata. The significance of the tree is that traditional believers always come under to pray for protections, because there's an adage in the Yoruba land that goes thus. Wanipo do ikapa, apa okapa, wado ikai Gioshe, apa okoshe, wado ika konga, konga oshe binukosi. Meaning there's no way you can wrap your arms around the tree. It is impossible because of its massiveness. That's why traditional believers always come under to pray for protections. So that's the Gioshe right there. On the floor here we have the faces of the warlord, those that fought for Egba to gain their liberations. So their memorial sculpture was molded here. And the white share you are seeing there, that's type of money spent in the olden days. Cowrie share, Yoruba call it Oweyo. But now they know it for a fact consultation and traditional decoration. That's the olden days money spent in the olden days. Also they use it for a fact consultation. The ancient route to the peak of Olumo Rock. Before modernization, this is only means of going up the rock. The ancient route is a natural passage used by the warriors to access the rock.
as a beacon of history, attracting visitors from all over the world who seek to understand the resilience of the Egba people, showcasing various historical pieces, traditional items, and, on the other hand, the establishment and continuous celebration of the Lishabi Festival. In the evolution of the Egba from warriors and hunters to craftsmen, traders and national leaders, their history illustrates the power of unity and determination. Lumorok continues to tell the story of a people who overcame oppression to build a vibrant, self-sustaining community.
I welcome you to the topmost part in Olumorok. From here you can see almost everywhere in Abeokuta. And the height of the rock is 137 meters above sea level. That's about 449 feet.
This is the rich, unyielding legacy of Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people. A narrative of survival, courage, and transformation. Now you see the connection. You see the missing link. I am Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective on Souqnews Television.
My name is Muiba Wonu Folami, an indigenous of Lagos State, Ikorodu, to be specific. I was born in Lagos 86 years ago, and to the glory of God, I'm still alive and well, and trying to be a relative in the cause of women. I attended primary school. I started at Ansarudin Alakuru School. From there to CMS Girls School, and then Queen's College, Lagos. From Queen's College, I went to the Portsmouth College of Technology for my A-levels, and then University of London for my first degree in law. The same university for my master's degree in law. I had, between obtaining my master's and my first degree, I was in Nigeria to do the mandatory law school course. I was one of the last people to do a 3-month course before it was changed to 1 year. And then went back to England for my master's. And from there to lecture at the University of Zambia. Back to Nigeria, I was appointed by Dr. Taslim Elias, the CJ of Nigeria, to the Commission for Advance Notice to Lawyers of Developments in Law. It was a commission funded by the Ford Foundation to keep lawyers abreast of the developments in law. I was a director there. Then from there, I was admitted to the Federal Ministry of Justice. After being legal advisor to many ministries, I ended up as the Director of Public Prosecutions for the Federation. And after that, whilst I was the Director of DPP, I was appointed Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State. After retirement, I've been involved in social work, in religion. I've always had religion, but I spend more time on religion. I read, I watch telly, and I live a good life to the glory of God. You see, when you begin to think that it was not until 2007 that women started to get equal pay in tennis tournaments. And it was something that was fought for. Little things like that does not add to equality. But when it was done, it may be small, but at work, even at work in employment, women are still discriminated against. And most women do two jobs. They look after the home, and they do the normal work that a man does in an office. Why I fail to understand this inequality in the treatment of women is that the work, the responsibilities in the workplace is not reduced for women, even though we do not want to be paid the same salary as men. It's a fight that has continued, and in that area, I think we need to do more to push for more recognition. Women have contributed immensely to the society. The men that are now resisting equal pay were brought up by women. That's what I do not understand, that they can think like that. We continue to push.
But how can we speed this up?
By bringing it to the attention of world powers, recognition by every country of equal opportunities, equal pay. I want to know, I want somebody to explain to me the jobs that women cannot do.
Yeah.
They've contributed immensely. Even in the new thing, IT, we're at par with men. So I do not see the reason for it. Unfortunately, I did not experience it, because when I left university, I practiced law briefly in my uncle's chambers before I went to University of Zambia as a lecturer. There, my position was enhanced in the sense that I was a foreigner, and I got all the benefits of being a foreigner, serving in their service. Fortunately, in Nigeria today, the federal government does not discriminate in terms of salaries. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get the same salary scale, and you are promoted on equal basis. Kudos to the federal government, to Nigeria for that. But in the private sector, things are different. In some companies, this is the areas that we have to work on, because the job content is the same. Some of these facilities are available in Nigeria. I learned by being a member of the Society for the Disabled that every government body must admit a certain percentage of women and of disabled people. So most times this opportunity is not taken. They are bound to employ them. We continue to push for that to be implemented in most ministries. It's important because it's there. You have to take a certain percentage of disabled people to work in government positions. It's important that we work to enforce that rule in our society. When it comes to discrimination, Nigeria is way ahead of some developed countries maybe because through slavery, we faced discrimination right from the beginning. We now know how to resist it. But in my country, Nigeria, in the federal government, in the state government, there is no discrimination. It may happen in private organizations, but they must continue to push to let them understand that the job content is the same. Well, you see, traditionally, under our culture, women are in the other room. To borrow the quotation.
Yeah.
That's our society, that's our culture. It's going to take a long time to evolve. In my time, female education was not so-called popular. It's only the educated few that strove to send their children to school, their girl child to school. They end up trading with their mothers or going to market and getting married off early. But as education began to rise in our community, its value was seen by my parents and others of their contemporaries to educate the girl child. And I believe the society is benefiting from that. Amen. So we must continue to push for the education of women, of girls. I have fought that, when I read that, the certain state government has appointed look at our National Assembly, 4 women in the Senate. Isn't that shameful? And that is the society. We have to continue to push women up. Let these political parties know that we want women. Let us organize ourselves to continue to vote for women massively. I give kudos to our governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. His cabinet women is well represented in his cabinet. And I enjoy that. I love him for that. And I continue to urge him to do more. He's done a lot. I think Lagos State has the largest representative of women in cabinet. First of all, they have to project themselves in their office space, their workspace. Let everybody know that they are equal to the task. Let us organize. There's a lot of society groups and societies that cater for the interest of women. I believe now violence against women is reducing in the society because there are sanctions for such behavior. I must say that speaking to the organization in charge of violence against women, I was amused to learn that some men come there to complain and that they are also being violated and abused.
Yes, it's a two-way
It's a two-way thing. So that is reducing our society. Education of the girl child is important. We have to let the locals know that education is important. Let them showcase to them the lives of those who have been educated and who are holding high positions. I'm glad that our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has returned history to the classrooms. It's important. Let them know about people that have contributed to the development of our societies and country. It's important. Yes, it's education. It's education. Once people are educated and they know that there is nothing a man can do that a woman cannot do when it comes to the workplace. We have women engineers, miners, and also all of that. Give me a job specific that a woman cannot do, then I'll change my views. So the moment you begin to upgrade education, let government now continue to vote more for education. I don't believe we are doing enough. There is a UN convention, and I think Nigeria is part of that convention, that a certain amount of a nation's income should be devoted to education. I'm not sure whether Nigeria is complying with that. But some states are better than others. And we must, education, I believe in education of the girl child. Some states now are taking children, girls off the street. Walking is completely prohibited. Things like that will help. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we are not advanced enough to use our votes to change things. We are still not voting for individuals. We are voting for parties, irrespective of performance. Education will help. And when we join other nations for the same purpose, we get results. Our organizations who are fighting for women in Nigeria should join worldwide organizations to showcase our own situation and learn. I believe that when you talk to others, you come back with ideas on how to improve things. So we must improve things by telling women in positions to show, to continue to prove that they are more than up to the task. It will not come to us on a platter of food. We must show by our actions and behavior that we are up to the task. course, some women are wrong in claiming equal rights to their husbands in the house. I completely abhor that behavior. Even though they are husband and wife, the man in my culture remains the head. He should be respected. His views should be respected. It's only now the condition of living is so high that you join the two incomes together to run the house. In the past, it was the men that ran the house to pay for everything. Maybe some of these women are thinking that because they are contributing a quota to the development, that they have equal rights. Yes, they have equal rights in the upbringing of the children, in their homes and everything. But respect is important. That will keep the home, and the children will learn and imbibe it into their own children too. Equal right does not, in my view, mean that you can be good, can not submit to your husband's wishes. Equal rights means something differently. Respect comes out of it. It's important. I go out and I'm like appalled at the way women dress. There's a competition to show as much of your body, to do that much as your as much of your body that you can. It's absolutely disgusting. They're not women. They're no longer women. The exposure, things that if you did in my time, a member of the community will cover you with a cloth and send you home. Because community mattered at that time. You dare not misbehave outside your compound because this community is watching you and reprimanding you if you go wrong, if you behave badly outside. That is lost. And that is why you see people, even their dressing, show disrespect to womanhood and to themselves and to the community. We must learn, teach our children etiquette of dressing, speech, how to think and speak in a decent manner. We don't have it anymore. We're losing it, and it's shameful because people are appreciating naked women on the streets. Both sides. If people dress badly and you tell them and ignore them, they won't try the next time. For instance, I believe nobody can dress to come to my house or to come to my party like a naked woman. I will turn her back. I will turn her back. So that's the type of thing that we should all do. Let the people doing this know that we do not appreciate things like this. When the society itself corrects it, we must correct it individually. It doesn't, if their parents cannot correct it, we must, by ignoring them and not allowing them to come near us. Show our women that have contributed to the society.
Yeah.
Show them, showcase them, showcase them.
Yeah.
We have the first woman senior advocate of Nigeria. We have Okonjo Iweala. We have, in the UN. We have all sorts. We have, what's this pharmaceutical woman? She's done so much. The younger ones are there. Little ones like Shadi Okoya is managing her husband company and doing well. Let's encourage them. They are young. The young ones, they are working to improve the society. There's so many of them out there. We should showcase them. Let them know that we have women who are of top quality, intelligent, and well-behaved, and they dress well. Dressing well is dressing in a manner that is appealing to the eyes, not nakedness. That's my darling, this new CJN of Nigeria.
Okay.
Who do that? But I did talk about Kikirieko. I mean, we're there. Female CJN. Yeah. And there are so many female chief judges all over the Federation. There are so many in the medical profession, in the engineering profession. We have pilots. So let them know that there is nothing that a woman cannot do. In IT, in everything, women are moving forward. We should showcase them. We should let their pictures be seen in our newspapers, in our news, in everything, to encourage young girls that you too can get there. If they don't see, and if they don't know the history of these women, how they got there, they too will not be inspired. We have to inspire the young people with the achievements of women achievers. Kekere rose from magistrate to right to the top. I admire her. She's well composed, well behaved. Some of these people, when they become something, they lose their heads. They start to no. She's so respectful, well behaved, well dressed. I don't think she would allow herself or her children to come out naked. Never. So people like that, Okonjo well are the same. We have a lot.
Well, thank you very much indeed. My name is Stephen Kola Balogun. I happen to be a lawyer, and should I call myself a pseudo-politician? Not quite a politician, but I've served in government before, and I'm delighted to be here. You know. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, is it my family or the wider family? I mean, like I said, I'm the son of Chief Dr. Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Like I said, he was a former politician, a frontline politician. He was the General Secretary of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, later National Council of Nigerian Citizens. He was the General Secretary of that party for about 8 years. From there, he was appointed by SOUQ to become a federal minister. He was initially a federal minister without portfolio. Consequently, after that, he became acting minister for labor, social services, and then he became Nigeria's first federal minister for information in 1956. He held that portfolio to 1958. Thereafter, he resigned from government. He had disagreement with the party. And Tafawa Balewa felt that he was a useful politician that could be sent to Ghana. and he went to Ghana to find out what was. Ghana was a bit ahead of us in terms of politics at the time. And I think it's fair to say they got independence just before us. And Nkrumah Tafawa Balewa wanted someone to understudy to find out what we're doing. So he sent Kola Balogun there. Initially, he was commissioner, and later, when we gained independence in 1960, he became High Commissioner. Shortly after that, when we became independent, he yearned to come home. He wanted to take part in the new political atmosphere at the time. He asked the Prime Minister to relieve him, to let him come back, and he did come back home. And immediately he took up the position of being chairman of the National Shipping Line. That was the position he held on to until the military struck in 1966. But even then, when the military did strike in 1966, he still continued. I think General Debayo of blessed memory invited him to join his cabinet, and he served as a commissioner for about 3 years or more. I think he was commissioner for health and was commissioner for education. Later, he also became chairman of the sketch group of companies as well. And that was about it. I think after his stint in government, he decided to go and do a PhD at the University of Ibadan. And then he went back into private legal practice. And then he started this agitation for the creation of Osun State. He and a few others set up the movement. He was the chairman of the movement. And then to the glory of God, in 1991, Osun State was created. And that's it.
Tell us about mommy.
Well, yes, my mother. Well, in those days, the women weren't not so much in the forefront, But my mother has been my bedrock. She stood by me, and she has backed me in most of the things I've set out to do, And she's still alive. She's 89 this year, and she's still doing well, and she's still
and your wife
going
and
strong.
The kids?
Yes, my children. Yes, I have 3 girls, 3 daughters. My oldest is 31. She studied at King's College London. She did reasonably well. She got a 7th class upper. Proud of her. She's an art curator today. And I have twin girls as well who are also in university now, that they haven't graduated yet. One of them is in Oxford University. She's studying history and politics. And the other is in Cambridge University. She's studying human, social, and political sciences. So, yeah. I did. I mean, my father, Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Yes, he was in the first cabinet in the First Republic, the first ever cabinet Nigeria had, and he served as the Federal Minister of Information and Research. As a matter of fact, he happened to be Nigeria's first information minister. Later, T.O.S. Benson, of course, became the independent Nigeria's first information minister, but independent Nigeria. But Nigeria's first ever information minister happened to be Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. No, I didn't. I took an opposite route from my father. My father went into politics straight immediately after he finished his education, and then he now ventured into law a little bit later. I decided to look at things differently. I thought that after academics I should practice law a bit, and that's what I've been doing. But at some point, I think that was in about 2011, I was called upon to serve in the Osun State government as a commissioner, and I took up that opportunity, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I am in the sense that I'm 65 years old now, and I think it's fair to say that we belong to well, I would say the first set, but one of those who benefited from Nigerian education. I schooled here. I went to secondary school in the West. I went to the University of Ife. Went to the Nigerian Law School. And I think it's fair to say that all the schools at that time were of high quality, produced top quality students who went on to make names for themselves, not just here in Nigeria, but also abroad. I think we still do that now, even though the standard of education has dropped. The sad thing about it is that Nigeria could have been a lot better in terms of the potential, because Nigeria does have a lot of potential. We do have very brilliant young men and women, you know, and I just think that if we had invested more in education, that we could have, the sky would have been the limit, actually. Well, my take on this is that it's the system of law itself. As a young lawyer, I experienced a few challenges myself, and I think one of the obvious challenges is the appeal structure. It's too easy to appeal against judgments. At the same time, when you file actions in court, there are no penalties for costs. In other words, I can file a frivolous action. I could insult you, as an example, and then you could sue me. And I say to myself, well, I'm going to eke it out. I'm going to take it. You're going to have to take me all the way to the Supreme Court. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. On the other hand, I could also file a frivolous application against you. And then filing a frivolous application, I could call you something you are not. I could defame you. And in so doing, you expect at least that once you prove your case, that I will be made to pay the penalties for filing frivolous applications. But that doesn't happen. And then, of course, the conditions of the judges. I mean, the judges are still writing longhand. They do trials, they sit there, they listen to witnesses, give evidence, and they have to write all these things down longhand. So there's so many challenges that has hampered the progress of law. And there hasn't been enough investment, I must say. Well, I agree with that, and I'm going to give an example as to how that I think we could possibly do that. Now, the Supreme Court hears everything. It's the final court in Nigeria, so they're going to hear issues related to criminal law, civil matters, constitutional matters, as you know, all these matters that's got to do with elections, and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, when we have an election cycle, the legal system slows down because the judges are hampered. They're too busy listening to the various appeals from the various states and the federal government to do with the elections. So as a consequence, the other matters to deal with shipping, banking, criminal law are put on the back burner. I think we need what you call a constitutional court, whereby which the judges in the Supreme Court are divided. So you have those judges whose responsibility it is entirely to deal with constitutional matters, and then you have another set whose duty will be to deal with shipping, banking, civil matters, criminal matters, and so on and so forth. So I believe it's high time Nigeria has a constitutional court to try and aid the Supreme Court with the workload they have, which is, quite frankly, quite a bit. Well, Nigerians, with respect, are very brilliant, very intelligent, and they are very aware. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a tailor, you're a driver, you're a lawyer, engineer, they are quite well informed. And the truth of the matter really is that this is the longest republic we've had. This republic started in 1999, and this is 2025, so 26 years. Nigeria's never had a republic this long. But the main flaw is the one you just mentioned. The fact that that constitution that was bequeathed to us by the military in 1999 was never really approved by the people. Now, that doesn't make sense, and that's unfair. in fairness. We ought to be able to look at the Constitution, improve upon it, and put our own input into it. Now, there's a way around that, and I've always believed, many people oppose this, but I'm of the view that what Nigerians need to have is a referendum. Have a referendum to ask the Nigerian people whether they want to persist with the 1999 Constitution or do they want to drop a new one. If the answer to that question is yes, we want to drop a new constitution, then that puts paid to the 1999 constitution, and then you can now have a system, a constituent assembly, whatever the case may be, where people will sit around the table and fashion out a new constitution. If the people say no, that means they've indirectly approved the 1999 Constitution, and then we continue with it. But what we can't do is continue having this debate, these arguments as to whether the 1999 Constitution has been approved by Nigerians or not, because it has not been. So I think the way around that is to ask the Nigerian people through a referendum, asking them whether they want to persist with this Constitution. If they say no, then we have a new one. If they say yes, we continue with the old one. And that ends the debate. Every system has its merits. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. To some extent, the presidential system of government has an advantage. It has the advantage in the sense that it has brought government nearer to the people. So the people of Osun, from where I'm from, for instance, now, have their own state. Same thing can be said, it's been replicated across the country. However, the drawbacks, the disadvantage is the fact that it's extremely expensive. Now, look at Nigeria, for instance, now. We have 36 state governments. So that means we have 36 governments in Nigeria. If you add the government of Abuja, if you add the federal government, that's 38. Now, each one of these governments have some form of legislature, judiciary, an executive as well, local government, civil service. It's too expensive. Look, in America, where we borrowed this system from, the states came together to form a union. This is totally different. We are doing it the opposite way. So we've had a structure that we're now going back. So at the end of the day, many of the state governments are still dependent on the federal government. And as a consequence, the kind of progress we ought to be making, we're not quite making it. So I personally, and this is a personal view because others would disagree, I would prefer that we reduce the size of government by having some kind of regional structure. And I believe that that will reduce the burden of governments. And if we can reduce the burdens of government, we can use this money to do many other things. And I also think it will also improve standards as well. Not just standards of government or parliamentary standards or whatever the case may be, but there'll be less people involved in the political system. And that would help us a great deal. Well, I think it's fair to say that since 1999, we haven't had any new state creation. I know there's been agitation for the creation of states, but there hasn't been any. The process for creating a state is quite cumbersome. It's not easy. I think it's in Section 8 and 9 of the Constitution. I don't think it's something we should be looking at. I think, like I said to you earlier, I think we should be trying to reduce the number of states, and I think some kind of regional structure whereby which we can monitor better what's going on rather than having more states. So I personally would not encourage the creation of more states, no. In the 1950s, we had 3 regions, if I'm correct. Those regions were the West, the East, and the North. We had the colony of Lagos, but if I'm right, I think it was the MacPherson Constitution, I think it is, I'm not too sure, that now put Lagos under the Western region. Now, when Lagos was placed under the Western region, lots of people were not happy about that. I remember my father was in the NCNC. The NCNC people were not particularly pleased neither were the NPC, because they felt that Lagos belonged to everybody. Like you said, lots of people from different walks of life, different tribes, different backgrounds, and all schooled. I mean, Zik schooled in Lagos. He went to MBHS. So it was the issue was sent to London to arbitrate. I think it was Oliver Littleton that arbitrated over the matter. And it was decided that Lagos should stand on its own, that Lagos should not be merged with any of the regions. And that was how Lagos was able to free itself from the shackles of the Western region. It's fair to say that the position of the NCNC was actually argued in London by my father. That's why I'm quite familiar with this. But talking about Lagos, when the military, after that, we had what you called a minister for Lagos. I think there was Ribadu, and I think there was one other person, but I think it was Yaradua, not the same Yaradua, but his father. And then later after that, when the military struck, they created the state of Lagos. So the issue of giving Lagos special status has more or less been taken over by events. Lagos is a state, and as a state, it's still home to different people with different backgrounds, from different tribes, and it's thriving. I think it's fair to say that Lagos is probably the most prosperous state in the country. And it's just a question of its continuing with good governance and improving the strides they have made. Once again, let's go back to the past. We had what we used to call the House of Chiefs, wasn't it? And in those House of Chiefs, many of the members of the House of Chiefs were people, were traditional rulers, chiefs from different backgrounds, and they had a say in the running of the affairs of state. It's like it was more or less akin to the House of Lords. So it wasn't necessarily the chamber whereby which the activities of day-to-day governance took place, but they could always refer issues to them. And I think that if we change our structure of governance, and if, that's a big if, then yes, we can have something like that. We can have a second chamber, which is more or less advisory in nature, similar to the House of Lords, whereby which we will have obas and chiefs and people of influence who will be able to advise government from day to day from the experiences and the way forward, but not necessarily binding. I think that's important. That decisions won't necessarily be binding on us, but at least they'll be able to share their views and experiences with the people. That's a big issue. I was commissioner for youth in Oshun about 10 years ago under Rauf Aregbesola, and it was an issue we took quite seriously. In Oshun State, we had quite a number of youths who are unemployed, and the governor thought, what can I possibly do to give them something to do, to keep them employed? So he created what we call the Osun State Youth Empowerment Scheme. Now, under the State Youth Empowerment Scheme, unemployed youths were given particular tasks in state. Help us sweep the roads. Some were part-time lecturers. Some were doing all sorts of things. They were given a stipend. It wasn't a full-blown salary. Or the salary, although the stipend was enough to keep them to be able to buy things, to be able to buy themselves drinks and food, and kept them occupied until they could find themselves a job. And I think the federal government could follow that kind of scheme, set up a youth empowerment scheme whereby which unemployed youths are given things to do. There's so many things that need to be done in Nigeria. There's so many gaps whereby which the youths can help do that. In the interim, while they find themselves something more gainful or something more permanent. So it's a question, it's for government to do. It's for government to think of a way of helping out the youths. And of course, there should be partnerships, a partnership between the government and private enterprise to try and encourage them to take on more of our youths, and not necessarily those who have schooled abroad, who they think are probably the best in terms of employment. No, we have many here who can do a good job as well. Sustaining democracy is about discipline. It's about the people being disciplined. It's about those who rule us being disciplined. I started out by telling you that this is the longest government we've had. It's the longest republic we've had. We've had democracy now since 1999, 26 years. If you go back to the days of independence, there's been no republic that has been this long. So it shows that the people have embraced democracy. They've come to it's part of us now. They've come to enjoy it. Yes, there are hiccups in terms of the fact that we could do a lot better in terms of how we implement things. But in terms of the people yearning for democracy and imbibing it, I think we've done very well. And what we just need to do is just to try and perfect it. One of the ways, like I said much earlier, is to perhaps take a second look at the Constitution, see where areas where we can improve, and try and make people happy, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. But I don't think democracy is going anywhere. I think it's here to stay.
So much. I think the bill is a good one for Nigeria. And I think that the bill will be a catalyst for business to thrive in Nigeria. So my position and my perspective to the bill would be that it will be a very positive one for Nigeria going forward. If eventually the bill scale through the legislative processes and it have actually eventually become a law. So that would be my position. Thank you. Yeah, the bill will help business in different areas. Let me mention, for instance, the payee is part of cost for a business. It's part of staff cost. And for especially small businesses, which are the major backbone of the economy, the bill is proposing a reduction, that is proposing tax exemption for some category of lower staff cadre, which in essence is a cost reduction for businesses. So by that, it will help the business to thrive. Also, many people will come, by virtue of that, employ more people, which will bring a robust activity for the economy. And at the same time, there's some category of people that their tax will also be reduced compared to what is currently in operation. So it is a positive atmosphere for business. And when you look at it from the perspective of VAT too, you also see that there's going to be zero tax on some product. There's also going to be tax exempt on some products, especially for masses, people, low-income earner. So some certain products, there's going to be exemption. There's some certain product that's going to be zero tax related. So by that, it will bring a more robust business activity. So by it, and then it will have positive effect on business and economy in general. the argument is important. It's very, very important. But when you look at it, fix and fix, the small business, it will encourage more small business. And also, even the 50 million turnover is not a small thing for business, though it is still small relatively to the economic activity. But it is a plus, right? And again, for business that their activity are more than 50 million, then it's good that they should pay tax and contribute little as company income tax to back to the economy. Now, if their taxes are used judiciously, then it will bring more infrastructure to the economy. Then there will be development in the country. Then we'll also be able to look at the advanced country. We envy them, we look at them that they are infrastructures in places, then these things are not cheap. They are not cheap. So, but the main focus for now is that is in a positive trend. It's a positive trend. I encourage that the bill should be passed and the implementation then should be followed up so that it will bring a positive effect to the economic generally and the business will thrive going forward. Well, I don't see disadvantage, but I see challenge. Okay. Yeah, one of the things is that naturally, human beings were adverse to change. So if something is bringing a change, especially when you want to take us out of a comfort zone, we may not want to willingly agree with it. But for me, I think the positive and the benefits outweigh whatever probably challenge or the disadvantage we may envisage. So I still strongly believe that the bill is in the right direction for this year. Okay, I think from the angle of the value-added tax, what I would like to say in that area is that it will help the lower-income earners because, like I mentioned earlier, that there's some products that's going to be zero rated, which means that there is not going to be tax VAT on them. There are some that are totally tax VAT exempted. So, which means that, and these products, they are products that commonly, they are everybody really, but more of a masses low-income earner will not, the VAT that will have been paid on it will have been an impact on them, then it's taking off. So I think from that perspective is also a good and a welcome one. And it compared to what was proposed before, a general increase in the VAT rate across board. So this one is narrow it down to a particular area. So wherein it also exempt or puts zero rated on some product that are commonly used by the masses. So it's a positive direction. It's a good one. Yeah, okay. One, from the tax perspective, one of the very good things about this bill is that it allows that you claim input fats. VAT is what you sell, what you buy. So the net effect of it is what you remit. Then this bill also helps to claim some expenses which currently is not in operation. So it's a positive one. Then again, you mentioned the increase in the VAT going forward. Well, let's appreciate that the increase is going to be gradual. That's one. Then two, let's also remember that the VAT, some of these products, they are not going to be with VAT again. That with common people like me and you. Transport, there's not going to be VAT on it. Rent, no VAT on it. Food item, no VAT on it any longer. And many more. Health, no VAT on it any longer. So you can see that the VAT is going to be increased gradually, but it's not across board. So those basic that we know is every day is already been taken care of. So I think it should give it to the people that work on this bill. Okay, thank you so much for that angle and the question. I want to say that Federal Inland Revenue Services, they are really trying. And I can tell you, there's no system that doesn't have its own challenge. But FRS, they are trying. And they are moving from those days of Alanok. Now we have task promise. You can do your filing right from the comfort of your office. You don't need to visit their office except there is a challenge. Right? So they are doing well, but they are not yet at the best. So, and there is room for improvement. They are already deploying technology. So what they need to do is to scale up and up to the task. But currently, they are doing well. So they just need to improve. Yeah, well, it depends on the perspective you look at it. Is it shrinking? Yes, we have some companies that are no more within the soul of the Nigerian. So in that case, their taxes is no more coming to us. But again, look at other businesses that are springing forth. So definitely those are coming to the tax net. And then again, there are some companies that are not, businesses that are not in tax net. So through the use of technologies by FRS, they're already bringing them to tax net. So the tax net is increasing. So the net effect of it, you can say, is increasing. Though we have some that are leaving the soul of Nigeria. So net effect of it, the tax net is increasing. Because we have people that businesses that are coming to Nigeria, and we have people that are businesses that are already in Nigeria, but they are not in tax net, but they are already bringing them to tax net. So it's like they are looking at perspective of increasing the threshold from 25 million to 50 million, as the case may be. Yeah. So are they saying that government should also still be taxing 25 million threshold? So we should applaud the bill that give opportunity for businesses that their threshold is less than 50 million, as the case may be. So, but from that angle, if you are looking at it that the business is shrinking, I don't see from that angle. I see from the angle of if the business is doing well and you are not to pay tax, right? Then your business is becoming robust, then you exceed the 50 million threshold. Then you also come back to the tax to be paying. So it is a way of giving boost to the business. And by the time the business is doing well beyond that threshold, then they'll be able to give back to the society. So it's a win-win situation. It's like giving a kind of relief to a business for them to thrive. And when they become better, doing well, then it's an encouragement to business, which they will also come to the net after that. So it's a good one. The chairman of the year.
The chairman.
SOUQ.
Yes. How would you assess his performance so far?
Yeah, I think Mr. Sakios is a reformer. Yes. Looking at the step he has taken after assuming the office, And I also see that it's somebody that is listening. He has a close relationship with the former chairman of FRS. Probably he has learned some of things from him, challenges that he faced when he was there. So I think he's helping the current chairman. And if you look at the revenue they are getting, they are meeting up with the target. And at the same time, if you look at the staff, I don't see much of issues, challenges within them. So those are the indices that you can look at from the performance of a leader. Look at the staff that is leading, look at the target, the businesses also, are they failing? So I think he's doing well, but he can do better.
According to the former UBA Group Managing Director, Mr. Kennedy Uzoka, he's a man that knows it all. Also, another described him as an encyclopedia of knowledge. The both are now farther from the truth of a man whose career has spanned over 4 decades, being part of a dozen organizations in both the banking and manufacturing sectors. Serving in different capacities as either a director, board member, or chairman of organizations such as Honeywell Flour Mills PLC, PZ Cussons PLC, Nigerian Breweries PLC, and United Bank for Africa PLC. In the same vein, he also had some link with the British American Tobacco Nigerian Foundation and Nutrisima Limited. He was once the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, where he clamored for the patronization of local content by all well-meaning Nigerians. Also, he served as chairman of the former Universal Trust Bank PLC (UTB) before the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo implemented the recapitalization of banks in Nigeria. Born Kolawole Babalola Jamodu on February 9, 1944 in Odo Ere, Yagba West local government area of the present Kogi State. Kola Jamodu attended St. Paul's Primary School in City College from 1958 to 1961. Harvard Business School, Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America from 1986 to 1987. His mother was Mrs. Fumi Olabinwonu. Not much was known about his father. At an early age, Kolawole showed an uncanny drive for knowledge and learning, which will form a greater part of his adult life. His rise to fame hasn't been without its peculiar episodes of challenges. He started his career with the United African Company of Nigeria, UACN, in 1962. 3 years later, he moved to Lever Brothers Nigeria Limited, now Unilever Nigeria PLC, and in 1965, where he received many years of experience of over 10 years in production, commerce, and finance. He later joined PZ Customs Group in 1975 as a group accountant, Chief Kolawole Jamodu. For many who work closely with him, he is a go-getter, both in the business arena and an exemplary leader in achieving the corporate governance with a litany of portfolios in diverse sectors. He's a trailblazer practically in many areas. He was the first Nigerian to be appointed as Group Finance Director at PZ. In 1980, he was appointed Chairman, PZ Nigeria Limited, then a trading subsidiary of the PZ Group, while still holding his position as a PZ Group Financial Director. In 1987, he became the first Nigerian Deputy Group Chief Executive, and in 1990, he became the first Nigerian Group Chief Executive of PZ Customs. Still in 1990, he was appointed Chairman of PZ Customs PLC, becoming the first Nigerian to combine the positions of a Chairman and Chief Executive. He, in 1999, after he had served in that capacity for many years, meritoriously retired but remained on the PZ Board of Directors as chairman in a non-executive capacity. Known for his strategic touch of class, Take 2, although his first appointment as executive chairman of PZ Customs was interrupted by his appointment as Minister of Industry in 2001, when PZ went through a tumultuous season in 2013, when revenue nosedived and profit hemorrhaged. Kola Jamodu was on every shareholder's lips, underscoring the confidence reposed in his ability to provide effective leadership hitherto wanting for the company at that time. Known for his knack for having the right strategy to grow business in a difficult market. In his capacity as chairman of Nigerian Breweries PLC, Kola Jamodu led the strategic investment and acquisition that have enabled Nigerian breweries seize key markets from competitors, positioning the company to maintain leading market share, moderate operating costs, and grow wealth for shareholders. In 2014, Nigerian Breweries acquired Consolidated Breweries Limited, with which sales revenue grew by 10% in 2015, even as the total brewed market declined. The company saved cost and defended profit drop in 2015. Jamodu also served as chairman of Universal Trust Bank PLC, a director in Ashaka Cement, and a director in Honeywell Flour Mills PLC. And also, he's been a director of United Bank of Africa since 2007. He's a fellow of Chartered Institute of Accounting, Nigeria, fellow of Chartered Institute of Management Accounts, London, and fellow of Chartered Institute of Secretaries. The name Jamodu trumpets loud and clear in Nigeria's boardroom leadership, owing to his dedicated work and great accomplishments in building businesses. Jamodu has only been a seeker of new challenges, set to brave and break new grounds. Our key takeaways from his tenure as minister highlighted the introduction of various innovative backward integration policies that enabled self-sufficiency in the production of goods like cement and other staples. These moves led to increased foreign direct investment, job creations, and a major boost to national economy and GDP. Dr. Jamodu, after a hiatus from the private sector, was appointed to numerous board positions with reputable multinational companies in Nigeria. For a start, he was reappointed chairman of United Bank for Africa PLC as a non-executive director in 2007. It's worth of note to say that in 2006, Dr. Jamodu was appointed to the board of Nigerian Breweries PLC as a non-executive director and later moved to become chairman in 2008, where he served 17 years meritoriously, spending 15 of those years as board chairman, and on April 30, 2023, retired as chairman of the organization, leaving a legacy of growth, innovation, and continuous success. Under his watch, the Nigerian breweries grew in leaps and bounds, strengthened its brand presence, and continued to drive positive change in the Nigerian breweries sector.
What was achieved during my period was a joint effort, because you can't say a leader if there are no followers. There are committees, and these committees are made of members of man.
Chief Dr. Kola Jamodu is a recipient of several national honors, including Member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, MFR, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, CFR. Also, he's a recipient of the National Productivity Merit Award, NPMA. Additionally, he's a Chartered Global Management Accountant, CGMA, a Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management, London, and Fellow of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. He's also a Distinguished Fellow of the Institute of Directors, Nigeria. During his 4-year stint at the helms of affairs in the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, he served in different capacities like the National Treasurer, Chairman of the Economic Policy Committee, Chairman of the Policy Advocacy Committee, Vice President, and later President from 2010 to 2014. Also, he is the past president of the Harvard Business School Alumni Association of Nigeria, a former president of the Chemical and Non-Metallic Products Employees Foundation, and an honorary member of the Nigerian Industrial Policy and Competitiveness Advisory Council, chaired by the Nigeria's Vice President. He's also served in various capacities such as Member of Council at the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NECA, Member of Council at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, and Distinguished Member of the Board of Fellows of the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM. He is an active member of Ikoyi Club 1938, Lagos Island Club, Lagos Metropolitan Club, Lagos Motor Boat Club, Moderates Club, and Lagos Dining Club, some of Nigeria's most prestigious social organizations. Not many people, prominent or otherwise, could be suitably described as detribalized nationalists like Dr. Kola Jamodu, whose great likeness for all and sundry cultures and tongues, coupled with his numerous contributions to the growth and development of various communities nationwide, earned him several chieftaincy titles such as Ashiwaju of Ere Kingdom in Kogi State, Are Apashewa of Ere Land, also in Kogi State, Babalaja of Lagos, Boba Gunwa of Ere Land, Kogi State, Maye Bobajiro of Ibadan Land, Oyo State, Barakoyi of Osogbo Land, Osun State, Mayegun of Ayetoro, Bede, Kogi State, Fiwajoye of Mulipa, Jebu-Ode, Ogun State, Ikemba I of Oba Nsuka, Ari of Eruku Land, Kwara State. Jamodu is nothing short of a legend. Although with limited experience in partisan politics, he stood tall and stepped into the plate when occasion presented itself in Kogi State, when he took leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as minister, serving in the cabinet of the ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. In the middle of 2020, Chief Dr. Kola Jamodu served as the pioneer chairman of the Elders Advisory Committee, EAC, of Pan-Okun Relief Response Agenda, which played a pivotal role when the world was faced with the coronavirus, mobilizing resources to provide relief materials for the entire Okun people, as well as address various issues relating to the pandemic in the land. He, through the Kola Jamodu Foundation, KJF scholarships are provided to several poor students through all levels of education, primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, medical support to indigents who have genuine medical conditions but couldn't afford to foot the bill. Chief Kola Babalola Jamodu, over the years, his hobbies have been the same: reading, traveling, golf, and badminton. He is married to his sweetheart, Olori Asiwaju of Ere Kingdom, Chief Mrs. Fumilayo Jamodu, and they are blessed with children and grandchildren. Chief Dr. Kola Babalola Jamodu.
Lawyers are concerned about several issues when it comes to artificial intelligence, AI, including data, privacy, compliance, and job displacement. Will AI really take jobs away from lawyers? In this special report, Bayo Olaoye addresses one of those concerns, job displacement for lawyers, as a result of the introduction of artificial intelligence. Will artificial intelligence make lawyers jobless? The short answer to that question is no. There are three reasons why AI will not take away jobs from lawyers, according to experts. First, AI systems being developed for the legal industry are primarily co-pilots. Secondly, there are numerous tasks AI simply won't do because legal implications prevent it. For example, litigation. AI cannot make court appearances, unless, of course, nations radically change their constitutions to allow robot lawyers to stand in court, which is highly unlikely. Additionally, for lawyers involved in strategic work, such as security, meeting new clients and existing ones, or serving on boards, AI cannot replicate the human touch. AI lacks the commercial acumen required to build relationships with clients and navigate complex problem-solving tasks. AI cannot engage in the strategic aspects of legal work that require understanding human behavior, negotiating, and making judgment calls. According to experts, AI systems built for the legal industry are designed to function as co-pilots, helping lawyers become more efficient but still requiring human oversight. For instance, AI can draft a clause for you, but as a lawyer, you must ensure that the clause makes sense. AI can assist with tasks like legal research, drafting legal documents, contract review, and identifying red flags. However, human involvement and judgment remain essential, as all systems, particularly large language models, can sometimes be confidently wrong. Despite its potential to assist in many areas, there are numerous tasks AI will not do for lawyers, either because it lacks the necessary capabilities or because it is unnecessary. Some might argue that AI makes lawyers more efficient. A law firm that would typically hire, say, 8 legal associates annually might now only need 5, using AI to assist those remaining associates. While that may be true in some cases, it does not necessarily mean lawyers are losing jobs, as AI will create new roles and open up career paths for lawyers, according to AI industry experts. For instance, AI companies build products for lawyers, require legal professionals just as much as they need AI researchers and engineers. Lawyers are domain experts who know the pinpoints and can guide the development of legal AI tools. In addition, there is the need for lawyers who will build a career in AI governance, working on AI policy auditing, AI existential skills, and AI enlightenment. In fact, lawyers will play a bigger role in AI governance than we can ever imagine. For instance, the AI alignment problem is one of the biggest challenges in the industry. There is ongoing research on whether we can solve the alignment problem using the law. As it is known, law is the most democratic aggregation of human values. How do we evaluate the ability of AI systems to follow the law? Or how do we ensure that AI systems do not misinterpret the law in case of unforeseen contingencies? Humans have the Supreme Court to interpret laws when faced with complex scenarios. What will be the Supreme Court for AI systems? These are questions that require both lawyers and AI engineers alike to ensure compliance. In fact, universities are recognizing the growing need for lawyers to build careers in AI. Many institutions are now offering master's programs that focus on intersection of artificial intelligence and law, preparing the next generation of legal professionals for the evolving job market. To wrap up, while the rise of AI will undoubtedly transform the legal